We want you to plan for success. Welcome to Planning Matters Radio.
Hi, Peter. Good to see you. Today we are topping the headlines. We're going to talk about the Inflation Reduction Act and what it means for retirees. There are a couple big takeaways. I think the most notable changes for your clients is probably going to be prescription drug price reform and the continuation of subsidies for health insurance. So let's start there with those changes and prescriptions, Peter.
Yeah, well, the Inflation Reduction Act, shortened to IRA, I think muddies the water specifically for retirees. So I'm going to try to differentiate between your IRA individual retirement account, your tax-deferred dollars, investable assets, and the IRA Inflation Reduction Act.
Yep.
Of course, we all love our abbreviations these days, but I do think that is a bit confusing here. And the question of, does the Inflation Reduction Act actually do anything to help us reduce inflation, or does it exacerbate the problem? Prescription drugs, the Affordable Care Act, energy subsidies, tax implications are all sort of in question. Now, for the prescription drugs, what the Inflation Reduction Act purports to do is give us a maximum out of pocket for our prescription drugs once we are on the Medicare system, post 65, maxing that out at $2,000 a year, which I know people who are unfortunately having to take prescription drugs that are costing them thousands of dollars a month.
Right.
And so having any kind of cap to those medical expenses is obviously a good thing for our total healthcare costs. But at what cost does it come? Because it's got to come from somewhere, right? The dollars come from somewhere. So does that, in fact, help us to pay less for all of the other items, or does it just continue to put more money out in the system, which actually promotes further inflation?
It's a juicy question, Peter. Yep. I know, a lot of moving parts here for sure. The second, maybe perhaps most significant item involved in the Inflation Reduction Act, Affordable Care Act subsidies. What do I need to know here?
Yeah, so I mean, this is basically a continuation of the subsidies that were already on the books, and it continues to extend those to, I think, upwards of 13 million American families or individuals who are using ACA plans and have income-related subsidies to help offset the cost of their health insurance. Again, I think a good thing. I think healthcare in this country is broken in so many ways. So I know personally, my family of three has paid upwards of $1,200 a month for years, for 3 physicals a year, essentially. But there are certainly people that, because of income situations, can't afford those kind of costs and expenses on their own, or it would be such a significant portion of their total income that they could pay for healthcare or something else, a roof over their head. So having the Affordable Care Act in place and having the subsidies for those income tiers, I think, is important. And I think it's a good thing that we've extended this to those that qualify. I think fundamentally, if we're going to do something on the backside, we really need to take a good hard look at the front side and do some reform as well. But again, a topic of discussion maybe for another conversation.
Yep. All right. Something that you did hit on earlier, though, tax implications, because we see big legislation like this. We know the funding has to come from somewhere. So a lot of people are wondering if their taxes are going to go up now.
Yeah. Words matter. Right? And so I'm going to read specifically from the words here. The Inflation Reduction Act has specifically stated that there will not be a new tax for any family that makes less than $400,000 per year. So where they are looking at tax changes as a result of the Inflation Reduction Act is for those individuals and families that make over $400,000 a year. Also, corporate taxes, enforcing a 15% minimum corporate tax for corporations with profits of over 1 billion per year, and on stock buyback programs for corporations. So that's where this states there will be new, but here's where words matter. They state will not be a new tax. They don't address the existing tax increases that are already on the books. And
Right.
politicians being politicians and political talk being political talk, they love to say things like, well, I did not impose any new taxes. Those tax increases were already on the books. And that's exactly what we are going to see. As tax laws stand today, the 2017 Tax Cut and Jobs Act was an 8-year measure, and it will expire in 2025, meaning in 2026, income tax rates on individuals in the 12% bracket go up to 15% when that sunsets. The 22% bracket goes up to 25, the 24 goes up to 28. So there are coming tax increases that we all should be aware of. Unfortunately, very few people are. And it would benefit all of us to be aware, because we could do some proactive planning now to maybe buy taxes off while they're on sale. And by the way, taxes are a mandatory purchase. So if we can pay them while rates are lower, while they're on sale, it would be a good thing for everyone. But yeah, again, the minutia of the words here, there will not be a new tax. It doesn't mean that the existing tax increase already in place isn't going to happen. I haven't seen anything from this current administration turning around and saying, no, let's continue the agenda of the last administration. Almost never happens, but specifically not with these two drastically different administrations.
Right. But always plan that your taxes will go up. That's never a bad strategy.
Right. And Aaron, great point, because for a generation, I mean, for literally 4 decades, the American system for retirement planning has been based on taxes will be lower in retirement. And for the last 40 years, that method of planning has been correct. Taxes have come down, but I think we are at a turning point here. We could see taxes beginning to go up. We're having a completely different discussion, different language involving taxes, and we really need to do some proactive planning, assuming that taxes will go up. Because if we plan as though they're going to go down and we're wrong, then we're not in as good a position as we thought. But if we plan that they go up and we're wrong about that assumption, we're in a better position than we anticipated being. So I'd rather be wrong on that side of the equation.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you don't have a tax plan, you do not have a retirement plan. So important.
And all, right, and all financial and investment recommendations and plans and strategies involve tax implications.
Absolutely. This last question here is kind of a fun one, talking about some of the energy subsidies. If I've been eyeing that electric vehicle, is now the time I should go out and buy it?
Well, I mean, there are certain components of the Inflation Reduction Act that would suggest that this is a good time to do so. But I know the popularity of electric vehicles, not ignorant to that. I know the appeal. I just don't know about the sustainability. I mean, we're here recording this within a month of Colorado locking people's thermostats because of energy constraints. We're looking back at California asking people not to charge their electric vehicles a week after saying there will be no imported gasoline or fossil fuel vehicles by the year 2035. Like, I love the thought process behind green energy, behind renewable resources. I just think that it's unfortunately going to be a longer process before we're ready. And I understand, great change comes with some push. We've got to be pushed along, but I'm not sure we're quite there yet. And putting additional strain and stress by everybody going out and buying an electric vehicle, I'm not sure the time is here yet. Me personally, my own personal opinion on that. But yes, there are incentives to do so in the Inflation Reduction Act. So if you've been eyeing one and you feel good about it and that is something that you want to do, now may be a good time to go ahead and do it.
All right. Well, Peter, this was fun talking through the less exciting IRA, but this was very helpful as well. If somebody has some questions about this, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, give us a call at Richon Planning, 919-300-5886, 919-300-5886. You can go online, richonplanning.com. It's my last name, Richon, richonplanning.com, or email me, peter@richonplanning.com. Always a pleasure.
Okay, Peter, thank you.
Thank you.
This has been Planning Matters Radio.
The content of this radio show is provided for informational purposes only and is not a solicitation or recommendation of any investment strategy. You are encouraged to seek investment, tax, or legal advice from an independent professional advisor. Any investments and/or investment strategies mentioned involve risk, including the possible loss of principal. Advisory services offered through Brookzone Capital Management, a registered investment advisor.
Fiduciary duty extends solely to investment advisory advice and does not extend to other activities such as insurance or broker-dealer services. Advisory clients are charged a quarterly fee for assets under management, while insurance products pay a commission, which may result in a conflict of interest regarding compensation.